So, the Mother series is a cult classic series of RPGs. The first game coming out on the Famicom only in Japan in 1989, the second game coming out for the Super Famicom and SNES in Japan and North America in 1994 and 1995 respectively, and the third and final installment coming out for the Game Boy Advance only in Japan in 2006. The first game initially was planned to come out internationally as EarthBound, two words, in 1991. However, it was cancelled and wouldn't get an official release until 2015 as EarthBound Beginnings. There was also the 2003 GBA compilation of the first two games, only released in Japan. Overall, the Mother series is quite an oddity when collecting. I own all the games in Japanese, a few Reaper cards of EarthBound Beginnings, the Mother 3 fan translation, and the incomplete Mother 1+2 fan translation. And I own the SNES Classic Edition, which has EarthBound included. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, I was watching a video on collecting the Dragon Quest games, and which was the rarest and most sought after, like in the description. No, I'm not a fan of Dragon Quest, but the concept sounded interesting, and it made me think, well, the Mother series was originally inspired by Dragon Quest, so what if I made a video on rare Mother games and collecting them? I then redacted that thought because, well, most of the games are kinda pricey, so what if I just made a buying guide of the series? And here we are. This will be counting, of course, what are the most common and rare physical copies of one of the official games, but I'll mention other ways to play them. But of course, we have to talk about what makes the game common and rare. If it sells more, the more common and cheaper it is, and vice versa for rare games. The less it sells, the rarer and more expensive it is, sometimes. Oh yeah, most of these games, if you are so inclined to own, are gonna have to be imported, because the Mother series is mainly prominent in Japan, and I'm also going to be basing these prices with the United States dollar, because I live in the dumpster fire known as the United States. So if you're viewing this in a completely different country, you might want to click New Tab and have a currency converter open. Alright, if we're gonna start anywhere, it's the place where it all started. Mother for the Famicom. This game came out in 1989 and sold around 400,000 copies from what I could gather. If you're looking for a loose copy, they go for around 25 to 30 bucks. However, a complete inbox copy with the box, manual, and whatever this thing is go for around $50 to $70. So it's not a cheap game, but it's not the rarest thing out there. But the American prototype is. Remember how I said the game was supposed to come out here in America? Well, there were prototypes made for the game, precisely 5 prototypes. That's rarer than the Nintendo World Championships Gold cart in stadium events. I mean, it's not the 1991 Campus Challenge cart, but it comes close. 4 of these are owned by private collectors, and the other is somewhere within Nintendo of America. From what I can find, the first prototype sold for $100 back in the late 90s, and I found that one sold for $1,100 at some point, and the latest I found was around 15 grand back in 2013. But then again, you could get a Reaper card of this game like I did, or download it off the Wii U Virtual Console for $7, or on an emulator for free, which is an option for all these games. If you do plan to get a Reaper card, the prices vary by a lot. I got mine for 50 bucks, but I've seen some go for much higher. Next up is the sequel, Mother 2, Geek Strikes Back, released in 1994 for the Super Famicom and on the SNES in 1995 as EarthBound. Mother 2, the Japanese version of EarthBound, goes for around $20 or less for the loose cartridge, and an inbox copy ranges a bit, but I found that it sells from $30 to $50. However, some sellers sell the game for more, but I'm just looking for a general average price. It's kind of surprising to me that the first game sells for more, however the sequel is slightly cheaper, even though Mother 2 sold around 300,000 copies in Japan compared to Mother 1's 400,000. In America, the game sold around 140,000 copies. Oh, yikes. Due to being more expensive than a standard SNES game, low sales, terrible marketing, and fans' love for the game is pretty dang expensive. If you want a loose copy, better check that wallet because my god, a loose copy ranges from $110 to $210. Now that's just a loose cartridge. If you just want an inbox copy with a large box, Nintendo Power Apps, and strategy guide like me, that's a whopping $800 to $1,100. However, there are much cheaper methods, like the SNES Classic for $70 or downloading the game off the Wii U or new 3DS Virtual Console for $10, though I personally recommend the SNES Classic. Since we've covered Mother 1 and Mother 2, let's talk about that Game Boy Advance compilation mentioned earlier. This released in 2003 only in Japan. The original version sold for around 250,000 copies. However, there was later a cost-reduced variant that was packaged with the Club Nintendo card. However, this is rarer than the original version, selling around 60,000 copies. Although the only difference is the packaging. Loose copy can cost you around $50 to $80. Yes, you heard me right, the cartridge itself can cost you as much as a complete in-box copy of Mother 1. Both the original and value select versions, complete in-box, go for around $70 to $100. If you want a card of the fan translation, I found that they go for $15 to $20, though you can download it on an emulator for free. Finally, we come to Mother 3, which came out in 2006 and sold around 400,000 copies. The loose cartridge can sell for $40 to $70, and an in-box copy sells for $50 to $80. If you're curious about what a card of the fan translation, it goes for around $15 to $20. Alright, we're done. Right? Nope! We still have one last thing to talk about. The Mother 3 Deluxe Box. For those who don't happen to know, the Mother 3 Deluxe Box was a limited edition version of the Game Boy Micro with a Mother 3 faceplate, including a white box Mother 3, a sack to keep the Game Boy Micro in, and a Franklin badge. How much did it originally cost, you may be asking? 18,000 yen, or roughly $155. Good luck importing it for that price now, or even triple that price, because the complete thing sells for $600 to $1,700. If you want the Game Boy Micro with the special faceplate, like $500 for the thing. Sales figures for this thing are difficult to find on the internet, but I'm guessing from those prices it was definitely limited. And that was my buying guide for the entire Mother series. Now, what is the most common Mother game? Overall, it's Mother 2. It's both common as a cartridge and complete in box. Technically, the cheapest would be the Mother 1 plus 2 and 3 fan translations, but I'm talking official games only, so the fan translations don't count. Mother 1 and 3 actually sold the best of all the series, but Mother 2 is cheaper online. But Mother 1 does come close. If we look at the opposite side of the spectrum, the rarest Mother game, most might say EarthBound, but as I said before, the rarest Mother game is EarthBound Beginnings. Yes, the game was officially released digitally on the Wii U Virtual Console, but the game has only 5 known physical prototype copies existing in the world right now. And one prototype was sold for $15,000, more than any other Mother-related item that has been sold forever. Mock Pizza Guy Air Freshener and Mother 2 Postcards Eat Your Heart Out. Okay, maybe it's not rarer than the Mock Pizza Guy Air Freshener. Only one of those exists. But anyways, thanks for watching my nerdy video on the value of Mother games. I really love the Mother series and so do many others, like maybe yourself. They're some of my favorite games of all time, and one of them is my favorite game of all time. But anyways, Fuzzy Pickles.